Well, we're excited to be here on another episode of the Midnight Founders Podcast in studio here in Springville, Utah with Amy Kendall, founder of Hello Story. And we're going to talk about what that means here in just a minute. I do have to share some cool news to our audience today. We just hit 100,000 downloads yesterday, so super exciting. So a little woo for that.
Yeah.
And then this is episode number 178. So, Amy, we're excited to have you on the show for those big milestones.
Yeah, what an amazing opportunity. Not only to be here, but to get to be here for those milestones. That's fantastic.
It's so cool.
It's so exciting for
We
you
planned
guys.
it that way. It
Yes,
was
of
exactly
course we
supposed to be
did.
that way.
Yes, absolutely.
And Amy also, just for the audience who doesn't know this, Amy in her spare time, she's a writer and an amazing writer and content producer, and all of her team. And what she does to release kind of that stress and tension is she bakes cookies. And so sitting next to me is
We're
two
celebrating
cookies.
100,000 downloads.
Yeah,
I
we're
knew
celebrating.
it. See? Yes, I was celebrating the downloads.
I love it. So chocolate chip, almond, coconut, oatmeal cookies. So if you can't imagine anything better than that, I would love to hear it because this sounds amazing. So we're gonna tell you how these cookies tasted afterward.
There you go.
In a
I'll
future,
get to show up on a future episode
in a
too. And
future
by the way,
podcast.
Amy's cookies were awesome.
So Amy, welcome to the show. Good to have you. We're excited to dive into your story.
Yeah,
This
I'm
is
excited to
great.
be here.
Yeah. So give us the 30-second pitch on what Hello Story is and what you're accomplishing for your audience.
Yes. So Hello Story, we are a marketing, messaging, and copywriting agency. We help businesses figure out how to talk about what they do, really clarify that message of who they are and who they connect with and how they can help that audience. And then we write the copy that communicates that. So a lot of websites, thought leadership pieces, emails. Like I tell clients all the time, I'm the word girl. If it's marketing or sales and it's got words in it, we've probably helped with it at some point. And, obviously we've seen a lot of changes over the last several years in particular with, AI coming in and all of that. And so we're kind of evolving and seeing how things go. In the past, we've been 9 years this week, which is
Congratulations.
crazy.
A milestone
So
as
you're
well.
celebrating
Milestone
too.
for me too, yes.
More cookies for you.
Yes, more cookies for me. So 9 years this week. The first probably like 6 years or so, we've been very focused on the copywriting side. And now we always did the message development, but now we're really swinging more into that message development space because, quite frankly, AI is taking over a lot of that copywriting. And for better, for worse, if you do a good job with it, though, you can get really great results out of AI. And so we're trying to help people develop the messaging that they need so that they can have that on the front end to put into the AI tools and get a good result on the back end as well.
We had a guy on the podcast maybe a couple months ago, I guess at this point, that talked about AI and as human beings.
Was that John Cheney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And John, he talked about, I really love the way that he articulated this, but he said that us as human beings shouldn't be doing the mundane, mindless tasks of, I'm not saying copywriting's mindless, but the actual writing piece that we can hand off. And then you're worried about the messaging and
Yes.
the creative aspect of it.
Yes.
And I think that that's so powerful and so cool if you harness it correctly. Can be a really powerful tool to just, make yourself more efficient and, accomplish more than you would without it.
Well, and even things like pattern recognition, right? Like as writers, a lot of times we're trained, well, the good ones, we're trained to get the information out of people. And then we have to hone in on what are those themes. And so you're pulling out those patterns and those things that come up over and over again. And AI is fantastic at that. And so if we can leverage the tools to do the work of that analysis and then from there build our piece, it gets us that much further ahead and helps us accelerate what we're able to create.
And I love that concept, Amy. That's when we were talking a few weeks ago. I was very curious to hear that a writer of your level, so expert and so amazing in so many ways, would champion AI and really embrace it because I thought that the opposite might be true. So tell us kind of how you're utilizing AI in your strategy to become better and do more.
Yeah. So it's I've loved AI because it's been, I have a love-hate relationship, right? Because it's
very disruptive to your industry,
It's very
right?
disruptive, and it's forced a lot of evolution, which isn't always comfortable, right? It's never comfortable, if we're honest. And so it's forced a lot of rethinking of how do we do things, how do we serve clients, how do we meet them where they're at. And so quite frankly, I use AI a lot on my back end, like even for my clients who we're doing message development for or we're doing content creation for, like we're using those tools, like I said, to recognize those patterns faster, to be able to get to that first draft faster that then we can iterate on and improve on. But what we're working on now is we are going to, and I think this is what you and I were talking about the other day, is we're creating a product where we're going to do message development, but then we're going to take that message for the client, put it into an AI tool, and then give them that tool as a subscription to say, hey, now you can use this to create your content. If you don't
Almost
mind.
empowering
Yes,
your audience to
yes.
do the same.
And if you don't mind, if I can just do like a quick vocabulary tangent. So
For sure.
I talk a lot about message and content, and those terms get kind of thrown around very like interchangeably. But the way that I see them is message is those foundational pieces. It's like the ingredients that I use to make those cookies, right? It's the chocolate chips, the sugar, the flour, the oatmeal, all those things. It's stuff that's in my pantry. Content is what I make with those ingredients. So that's the actual cookies or the bread or whatever, right? So content is like your blog posts, your social media stuff, your website content, like all of that outward facing external stuff.
The end deliverable
The
almost.
end deliverable, exactly. Whereas the messaging is those internal facing, those are the ingredients that the team, the vendors, whoever is using to create that content. Or you, like we have a lot of people who do it themselves. So this new product that we are building to offer to our customers is really focused around how do we empower you to create this content? Because we know you're out there doing it already, like you're using AI to do that. But the problem that I'm seeing is many clients, even the ones that I work with to develop messaging, they don't know how to use that. They don't know what to do with it. There is a learning curve to AI and using it in a way to get good results out of it. And they don't necessarily have the time to do that. And so what I'm trying to do is meet them where they're at and say, "Hey, I know you want to create this content. You want to be able to do this on your own, get it out quicker, faster, whatever need arises." So I'm trying to arm them and equip them to have the tools to do that effectively and to do it well so that what they get out is going to be on message for them and it's going to be tied to who they are and what they offer and what those key differentiators are that we've identified for them in that foundational work.
How intuitive is it for your customers? Like, do they know what they want to get out, or is it kind of a journey that you take them on? And it's like, hey, we ended up at this place that we necessarily maybe didn't think we would end up at in the beginning.
Do you
Great
mean in
question.
terms of their content?
Yeah, yeah. Like when you
Yeah.
take them on this journey of like deciding what their message and their content is, like what they start with and probably what they tell you in the beginning, is it always where you end up at the end?
I wouldn't. It depends on the client,
Yeah.
which is like the worst answer. But it really does depend on the client. Some of them, they come in and they say, "Hey, I just want you to create blog posts for me." And it's like, okay, well, let's start talking about who are you talking to? What are you selling? All those things. And they don't have great answers to those questions. And so it's like, hold on, let's back up. Let's make sure we've got this clear and defined because otherwise we're just all over the place and we're kind of just throwing spaghetti at the
You
wall,
almost have to
right?
help them
Right.
explore what that is, right?
Yes, yes. And then I have others who, and there's kind of crossover between these groups too, who might come in and say, like, hey, I'm not quite sure what I need, but I can't get everybody to head in the right direction, right? Like, for example, I was working with a home builder a little while ago who the CEO had a very clear vision, like incredible visionary, like just I was really sad that I hadn't met him before I did our home renovation because I was like, you would have been so fun to work with on this. But he was having trouble getting his salespeople to understand the vision. He's like, every time, like I sit him down, I talk to him for, 30 minutes, hour, 2 hours, whatever. I think they're on board. And then next week they're saying the wrong thing again. Like I cannot get them to stay like what I want. They're not in line with the vision. Right. And I said, okay, my guess is that this is because you're not explaining it well, right? You're kind of all over the place. You're excited about all the things. And so they can't internalize the right bits that you want them to be aligned on.
It's
So we
overload,
went
right?
through,
Too much.
just overload. Exactly. We went through the process of defining their messaging and getting it documented. And right at the moment where we finished, they actually decided to split the company. And the messaging we did went with like the custom luxury side of it. And then they also had a like more affordable, like entry level home side of it. So what happened was really interesting because the sales team that went with the affordable side looked at the custom luxury side and was like, wait a minute, how come they have this all dialed in? Like there was this massive, like, I want what they have, right? And so we ended up having to come back and do the same process
You
for
got
this.
2 customers
I
out of
did.
1.
It was
That's great.
amazing. And they were like fantastic. They're like one of my favorite clients. So it was great. But they were like, we need this too. And we were able to go through and do the messaging for them as well because they recognize, like, hey, if we have this, everybody gets it. And it was actually, there was almost a year in between doing those 2 projects. And the CEO told me, he's like, I need you to come back and do this because I can see the difference. Like these guys are totally on point. They get it. They're like all headed in the same direction. And everybody over here is like all over the place still. And so we have to get this clarified so that then we can build the content we need to be able to actually move these brands forward.
Great validation.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's the best validation, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Referrals.
Come
When-
back
Yeah.
again. We need
Well,
you
and
again.
clients succeeding is just like, yes, like it just like I was texting back and forth with him the other day and he was like, oh, you've got to come by and see like the new office and all we're doing. It's just so fun to see.
Feels like you're part of the team.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
That's awesome. I love the name of the company. How did you come up with Hello Story?
Oh, I wish I could remember. I had somebody, I was like trying to figure out. Okay, hold on, back up. So when I decided to start the company, I was on an internal marketing team and just had
Okay.
decided to step away from that because at the time, I had a 3-year-old who she had a little plastic laptop, and whenever you would ask her what to do something, she would get her laptop out and she'd say, I have to finish my emails right now. And I was like, oh, great.
Look what I'm
is where
teaching my
we're at.
kids.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, we need a change. And but I decided that I wanted to be the partner that I had needed in that role. I needed somebody who could create really great marketing content without me having to babysit them and handhold them through that process. But I kind of decided that really abruptly. Like if you had asked me 3 weeks before quitting whether I was going to start my own company, I would have been like, no, I'm not doing that. But then it was the thing that needed to happen. So pretty much in the course of like 3 days, I decided to quit my job and start a company. And
Almost on a whim, it sounds like.
kind of, yeah. Like my dad was very entrepreneurial and like even when I was in high school, when I couldn't get a job, he's like, you should just start your own business. You should clean houses. So like I had a house cleaning business for half a second and I washed windows in college and like I would do random things, right? But I just was never interested in like having to chase business and like I really liked working for someone and having my work just showed up and then
Right.
I could leave. But it just wasn't a fit anymore. Like I needed the flexibility to be the mom that I wanted to be. And so I decided to step away. So anyway, back to how did I pick the name? I remember I was in my kitchen and naming is the worst. Like even as a writer, like I have clients who'll ask me and they're like, "Oh, help me name this." And I'm like, "Please not. I will point you in the direction of someone else." Like naming is just
That's
hard.
funny to hear that because it seems like that would be your bread and butter,
No,
but you
it's
hate
just
it.
hard. Like I have a few times where I'll have like partners who be like, "Hey, help us with this." And I'm like, only because I like you. Like, it's just hard. So I was trying to figure out what to name the company and just really kind of back and forth. And there was some song, and I don't even remember what song it was that came on while I was washing dishes. And I was like, hello, okay. We're all about story, like, hello, story. Okay, yeah, we'll totally do that. And so I don't even remember what song it was. Something about a song, washing dishes. And here we are, 9
It
years
was
later.
probably off Bluey or something.
Probably. It was
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
You never know the power of washing dishes. It can give you all the inspiration you need for the
Yeah.
rest of your life.
Yeah.
So is it a daughter, 3-year-old daughter? Is that what you said?
Yes.
So you had a 3-year-old daughter at the time. How, because sometimes the adage of entrepreneurship is you give up a 40-hour work week for an 80-hour work week. So how have you balanced that? And how have you involved your daughter in your company?
So I have 3 kids. At the time, they were 5, 3, and 18 months old.
Okay.
And really, for me, like, they are the entire reason that I left that company.
Right.
I was very burnt out. I was very tired. And I also on the flip side of that, felt like I probably stayed in that position as long as I did because honestly, they were really helpful. And like when I had my kids, they worked with me on giving me like, I would work in the office. Like when I first had my first, I would work in the office in the mornings and then I'd work from home in the afternoons. And then eventually by the time I had my third, I was only going in a couple days a week. And this was before the pandemic. So it was like amazing that was a thing, right?
They were that flexible.
Yeah. And it was awesome. And I loved my team, but we had just had a lot of culture shift and it just wasn't the right fit anymore. But I stayed a lot longer than I should just because I had that flexibility, right? And so when I left to start my own company, it was really because I wanted, like, I knew that I was going to keep working. There's a whole other story on that, but I knew I was going to keep working, but I also knew that I wanted to be there for those mom moments. And AJ, you've probably heard this from me before, but I have pretty strict boundaries around, like, after 2 p.m., like, I am not available. Like, we are not going to have calls. I am not going to your event. Like, that is mom shift. And that's just how it is for now. And, now my
Which is
kids,
so cool and incredible.
yeah,
I compliment you for that.
thank
It's
you.
hard to keep that
It
like
really
focus
is.
for sure.
Yeah.
It is. And it really is like, I mean, now my kids are 14, 12, and 10. So, like, we're in a very, very different stage. But, in another 4 to 8 years, like, they're going to be gone. So I'll be in a different season. And so for me, I've just looked at it very much as like there are seasons to my life. And for this season, yes, I'm growing a company and I have this, but my focus and my priority is my kids. And I love this opportunity because it allows me to put them first.
That's
Um,
cool.
and so from the beginning, like, I just kept, we had a babysitter who would come in and she would watch while I was at work, which was usually 8 to 12. And I just kept that. I had her still come, and from 8 to 12 I would go sit at, like, Harmon's or the library or wherever to be out of the house so that I could focus on working. And then I came home and I was with the kids. And then once they went to school, we were able to I work while they're at school. So I work from 8 to 2 because that's when my kids are at school.
And so it sounds like you've been able to, because you kept those boundaries, you've been able to balance that mom guilt that,
Yeah.
so many talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yeah.
hasn't been such a thing for you.
I mean, it's always there, but yeah, it's not as much. And I am a huge proponent of the fact that, like, I love working because motherhood is amazing, but it is very circular, right? Like, you do the same things over and over again, and you say things like, please don't, leave your stuff on the counter. You say that how many times, right? Like, it's just over and over and over and over again. And they have to eat every day and, like, just all the things. And so there's progress. I was talking to someone the other day, and it's kind of like it's a circle, but it's very slowly going up this mountain, right? Like, but if you're looking down on it, it just looks like you're going round and around. And there's not a lot of that validation of, like, I'm making a difference. Like, we have some of those moments as parents, but they're few and far between. Whereas at work, I love it because it's linear. I get to have my to-do list, and yes, I may not be checking them things off as fast or as often as I want them to, but I get them done. I finish a client project and it's done, and I get to see the progress they're making so much faster. So I love being able to work and be a mom because the linear nature of the work I do at Hello Story, it helps give me more patience for the circular work of motherhood.
I've never heard it stated that way.
Yeah.
Well said.
Thank you.
You can tell you work with words.
Like, I articulate things
It's
for a
like you
living.
do that. That's awesome. Well, Amy, how did you, okay, so how did you get here? I mean, you talked about your job that you had before with, with the corporation, and then you started your business. Tell us more about before that and how you got.
Before founding Hello Story?
Yeah.
Or-
Well,
Mhm.
before the job with the corporate
Uh-huh.
entity, and just how you got into the marketing side of things, because you're a
Okay.
brilliant marketer.
So I was the kid who showed up at college and wanted to do all the things. Like, I literally was at BYU and I had the list of majors, which, is like 100 plus or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I crossed off the ones I didn't want to do, and there were still 27. And so I, like, called my dad and I was like, how do I pick? This is so fun. And I went to lots and lots of intro classes and eventually decided that I was going to do public relations. So I got a degree in communications with an emphasis in PR. And once I started working, in BYU, the communications at, like, public relations and marketing, they're totally separate colleges, right? Like, PR is in communications, marketing is in business. And so I
Right.
think I took one marketing class in my entire college career. But then when I started looking for jobs, I very quickly realized that, like, marketing and PR have a ton of overlap. Like, unless you work for an agency or a giant corporation, like, you're gonna overlap
Do
there.
both.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
And so my first job out of school, I was marketing communications specialist. PR was this itty bitty sliver of my job. And I very quickly realized it was not the thing for me. With all due respect to everyone who does PR, the way I saw it was PR, you beg for the attention, and marketing, you pay for it. And I was like, I'll just keep my dignity and pay for it. Like, I don't
That is
want to do
funny.
the other side of it.
Never heard it stated that way either. That's great.
Again, apologies to all people who do PR because they're amazing. It just wasn't a fit for me. And so I focused on marketing communications, did that for about 9 years before it was time for me to make a switch. And really had a lot of really amazing experiences. I got the chance to grow the company that I was with right before I left Hello Story. By the time I started, or when I started, they were $10 million company with 2 products, and by the time I left, they were $50 million company with 4 brands and 7 or 8 products under each brand. And I had grown into overseeing all of that content, which was amazing from an opportunity and a growth and like learning how to talk to different audiences and all of that kind of stuff. It just wasn't great from a burnout perspective, and so it was like we
That's
need
a
a
lot to
change.
manage.
Yeah, it was a lot. And we had done a lot of that growth through acquisition, but we didn't add a lot of internal team members. So we had added one other writer in that time. This was pre AI too. So there was no way the two of us were going to create all of that content. And so I was really managing a team of freelance writers, which is then what I said, I can do this in Hello Story. And really that's what, because I knew from day one that me by myself, like I wanted to have those boundaries of like, I'm working. I've always said I work full time, but that's really equates to like 20 to 30 hours a week, right? Because it's while my kids are in school. And so I knew that me by myself wasn't scalable and I needed to have other people on my team. So from day one, I was reaching out to people I knew and was being like, "Hey, do you want to do this with me? Like, would you be up to be a writer on my team?" And so I've had a team of writers the whole time. And it's great to have that support and to be like, "No, I can do this, but I don't have to do all the work." And I actually think a lot of that has trained me well to now use the AI tools, because if I can treat that as a junior copywriter, I'm really good at saying, "Hey, this is the initial draft. Let's make it better." And those are skills that have served me well as we've shifted into AI.
What's in your AI toolkit right now?
So I use a tool called Hot Goss, which is actually specific to marketers. They have a very like stringent, like you have to meet certain experience levels and all that kind of stuff, and it's pretty exclusive, which
It's
is
a paid
nice.
product,
It's a
obviously.
paid product, yes. So that's what I use for the
Hot goss.
Hot Goss.
G
Yeah.
GOS? I don't know if I've heard of
Like
that one.
gossip?
GOSS.
Yeah.
GOSS. Okay.
Yeah, like gossip. So that's kind of my tool of choice. My operations and project manager, his tool of choice is Claude. Like he uses Claude a lot. And then the do you guys know Jed Morley with Backstory Branding?
Oh, we love Jed. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
great.
Jed's amazing. So Jed has actually built a tool called On Message. And that is what I'm going to be incorporating into our product that we're going to be offering to clients. And I think that it primarily pulls from ChatGPT, but you can put in other APIs.
Very cool. So
Yeah.
you're building an entire suite.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's so many options out there, and it's about finding what works for what you're trying to accomplish, you know? And I'm one who I love to find the tool and then I just stick with that because I don't want to have to spend time vetting a bajillion other things. So
Yeah. Yeah, there is tech stack fatigue for sure. And
yeah.
sometimes my team feels that when we bring in, oh, here's the new technology of the month. And you can
Yes.
just see it in their faces, like, not another one, because there's the learning and there's the
Yes.
onboarding. And so you have to really kind of be careful with that. I like that you
Mm-hmm.
said that.
Yeah.
Um, Amy, I mean, there's some, I mean, obviously with all the change happening and all the different AI, tools and things coming out, how has that helped you and your team? You said you still have your team, but how has that helped you scale more?
So I think that a lot of it comes down to, well, I would say this. I think that we're still very much in a point of growth. Like I wouldn't say, looking at where things are at, that I've cracked the nut on scaling this yet. We're still figuring it out. And honestly, anyone who tells you anything else about AI is
I think everyone is. We're
we're
all
all
just
figuring
trying
this
to like
out.
figure out, how does this new
Yeah,
world work,
100%. And especially within marketing. I think all of marketing is in a state of evolution at the moment, and we're all just kind of trying to figure it out together. I will
Evolution, I
say
say chaos slash,
yes, yes.
catastrophe.
We're going with positive
There
framing,
you
but
go. I
yeah.
love positive framing.
There's my PR background for you.
There you go.
So I think that what I'm seeing though, like the momentum that I'm starting to see build, is that I think you mentioned earlier that by helping provide these tools to clients, we're empowering them. And I think a lot of it is kind of that empowerment, that democratization, so to speak, of like making this available for everyone to run with. Now that does create a lot of noise, right? And we've all seen that. There's so much content out there, like it's just exponential, the growth of the content. And I think with that, it creates a place for those experienced marketers and those experts who can come in and say, okay, this is how you're going to differentiate yourself. This is what you need to do to make sure you're standing out from that. But at the same time, I think it makes a lot possible in that people now have these tools that they can get to results faster, right? Like it just accelerates things, which I think in and of itself, there's dangers with that, but it also brings a lot of opportunity.
I've never thought about that AI is going to just create a huge influx of like content.
Have you not been getting like massive amounts of cold emails to your
Yeah, for
inbox?
sure. But like, but I'm just,
LinkedIn text or
Yes.
I
messages.
didn't even like, I didn't make that connection for whatever reason. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
there's so much. It's so
Yeah,
much
how big of a
noisier.
job it's going to be to differentiate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like that's when it goes back to the human-centered
Yes.
moment where you're like, now, we were talking about this with another guest. I think that this is with John Cheney as well, is, we'll soon have a sticker on products that says, made by humans or human
Yes.
generated or something.
Yes. Well, I think you're gonna like, there's a huge trust element that goes with that too. I was just talking to somebody yesterday about like, trust has kind of fallen off a cliff. Like people don't trust. I think
So
people
true.
are losing trust in a lot of the content and the things they see. They're like, man, that's just AI. It's just AI, right?
Oh, my kids are so good at it. They're way better at it than I am. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's AI. That's AI. I'm like, oh, let's look at it again. Oh, you're right. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, they can tell really well.
Yeah, but at the same time, the AI tools are going to ramp past
They're
that,
gonna-
right? So
yeah.
it's just going to be, it's an arms race essentially. But I think that the trust factor is going to be huge. So the more authentic that you can make your content, whether that's video, written, audio, whatever, the better off you're going to be as a brand. And I think that's going to be really the differentiator that people start looking for, is that authenticity. And do you know who you are, and are you true to that at all times? And in those instances, once you understand that, that goes back to that core message, right? Once you understand that, that's when you can use the tools to still authentically communicate, the AI tools, but to do it in a way that serves the brand and serves the audience and isn't just spaghetti we're throwing at the wall.
I would think, Amy, that your industry, although it's being, there's all sorts of changes and developments and things happening. What you just said earlier isn't critical. I mean, the disruption's there, but the need is going to just exponentially grow. So I would feel like your industry, this is going to help it expand completely.
I think so. I mean, I think you have to look at it as like, so I'm a StoryBrand certified guide, so I follow very closely Donald Miller and everything he says. And one of the things that
He's fantastic, by the way.
he is,
I really
he's
like him.
great. He has such great insights. But one of the things he's been saying for quite some time is like, you have to look at this as through the lens of what does this make possible? Like instead of being like, oh my gosh, it's disruptive, let's ignore it. Like it's here, it's not going away. And so we need to figure out, okay, what does this make possible? What could we do because of this? And so I think that the companies and the brands and the advisors and experts who really embrace that, who say, it's here, let's figure out how to make the best of it and what more can we do because of it? I think that's where you're going to see the difference. That's who's going to be able to succeed. It's just like all the other revolutions that have come before, right? Whether agricultural, industrial, information, whatever. It's just a matter of figuring out how do we use this to move forward.
Yeah, fascinating.
So cool.
Okay, this podcast is for early stage entrepreneurs. What advice? You probably work with later stage companies for the most part, but what advice do you have for somebody that's just getting started?
So number one thing is you need to get really clear on who you are, who you're serving, and especially the problem that you solve. I was listening in preparation for coming today. I was listening back to a few of your episodes. And one of the things that struck me is how clear those entrepreneurs that you talk to, those who are successful and are succeeding and moving forward, how clear they are on what they do and who they serve. Like the episode I listened to yesterday, I think it was Dave with the healthcare.
Oh, was that
Wealth.
Dave
It was
Bullock?
like, yes, with the wealth management and the health.
Brian Case.
Maybe.
Oh, Ryan
Yeah.
Case, probably. Yeah.
Probably. Yes.
Yeah.
I should have checked before
That's
I walked
okay.
in.
Yeah.
But he was talking about how they like serve the doctors, right?
Yeah,
And he's
yeah,
like, we
Brian
have
Case.
Brian
to
Case, yeah.
we have to know who we're talking to. It's not just healthcare. It's the doctors. It's not the doctors and the nurses. It's the doctors. And then like the stump guy, Ty, right?
Ty Mumford.
Right? Like how
Ty the
awesome.
stump guy.
He's like so clear. I do stumps. I don't cut down trees. Like, I own the stump problem. And I was like, yes, like, go him for just being like, this is my problem and I own it. And by the way, if you cut down trees, I can fix that stump for you. Right? Like, that's amazing. And that's him owning that problem and just like understanding who he is and that the area that he serves in that market. The closer you can get to that as an entrepreneur, the more successful you're going to be able to be, because it makes your message that much more memorable. It helps people remember, oh, that's the person I call when I have this problem.
Yeah.
And that is your message. It doesn't need to be nuanced. It doesn't need to be clever. It needs to be super clear and dialed in.
I love that, especially just with our conversation earlier, where there is so much clutter and there's so much
Yes.
confusion.
Yes.
To be straightforward and very clear and simplistic in what you're saying,
Yeah.
I think is that's going to be the differentiator right there.
Yeah. And I think that, like you said, the simpler you can make that, the better. Like, the more complicated it is, the higher the cognitive load, you're going to lose people.
People don't have time.
They don't have time.
They're not going to. They're
And
not
when they
gonna
say,
spend time.
I'm going to think about that later and figure it out, that means never. Like, that just means they're never thinking about it again. So the simpler you can make it, that the more successful you're going to be.
So true. So true. Well
There
said.
was a game on my phone that I used to play, and the issue was there was like so many like sub games within the game that like whenever I would check in on this game, it was like I had like 15 minutes of tasks to do, and it was like I can't be bothered
Delete.
with this anymore. Yeah, so I deleted it, and it's this exact thing. It's like you get so overburdened with content that like you're gonna stop following people that
Yeah.
it's not quick. And I think on on LinkedIn a few weeks ago you posted something that every piece of content has a job to do.
Yes.
And I think that message is so cool. Like if every piece of content actually does the job that you intend it to do,
Mhm.
you're not going to lose your audience.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can be like focused in on that simple core message and every piece comes back to that, then you're gonna, it builds together and it creates a system that makes it easy for people to remember you and to come back to you.
Such a huge value that you're giving and that you're offering companies, Amy. I love that. I love what you do. It's
Thank
so
you.
cool. Yeah.
Thank you. It's fun. It's exciting to get to learn about so many different companies and be able to help them and learn about problems that people are solving in amazing ways that I didn't even know were problems.
You can tell you're passionate about it.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Very good. Well, you have some really fun things coming up soon in the community that you're spearheading.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about that?
Yes. So along those lines of getting clear about what you do, I'm teaming up with Travis Isaacson from Powder Days Marketing, and we're offering a workshop. It'll be here locally. It'll be in person in Utah. It's gonna be in Orem, and this will be April 17th. And what we're doing is we're saying come for a morning and do the messaging work that you need to do to be able to have that solid foundation for the rest
And you'll
of your
guide them
marketing.
through it, right?
We're going to guide them through it. Exactly. We have 5 different pieces that they'll be creating over the course of that morning. And then with that, they'll be able to have things that day that they can take and apply to their website, their social media, all that kind of stuff. We're trying to kind of get away from, you go to a lunch and learn, and I presented these, I presented things and stuff like that, and you come and people are like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Like, I'm going to think about this. I'm going to do this. And I know that they go away and they don't, because it's hard and we're busy and like you just don't do the work of those amazing ideas that you listen to. So we're trying to counteract that and say, you know what? Just come, give us a morning, and we will get you through all of these things. So that you've got a solid foundation. You're going to actually do the work so that you can actually start using it and moving forward with it. So like I said, that'll be April 17th. It's in Orem. Those tickets are $300, but we do have a discount code, which I would love for your listeners to take advantage of. It's Secret50. If they follow me on LinkedIn, we'll have the link to the registration page there. And then just use that discount code to get $50 off the registration.
You heard it first on the Midnight Founders podcast.
Sure
That's
did.
great.
Yep.
Well, that's cool. Do you how many do you plan on attending, or what are you planning for?
We're trying to keep it fairly, like, we want to make sure that it's not too big because we want to be able to give people like good feedback and stuff.
Personalized attention.
Yeah, exactly. I think we'll probably shoot for like 20 to 30 people. So
Okay.
not too big, but definitely
Intimate
focused
workshop
on,
for sure.
Yeah.
Very good. And anyone, any company, any industry, doesn't matter, right?
Yep, doesn't matter. I've worked with everybody from handmade caramel sauce to healthcare finance to authors, coaches, speakers to, like I said, construction. Like, we're all over the place, which I love because I get to learn lots of cool things. So yeah, and we'll just have them bring their laptops and if they want to bring previous materials they've started, we can use those as kind of a jumping off point. But like I said, there'll be 5 different messaging pieces that we walk them through.
Very cool.
This is awesome. Anything else you'd want to share with our audience?
They are more than welcome to follow me on LinkedIn. Like you said, I do try to post thought leadership content there about like how do we create good content and messaging. So hopefully that's a resource for them. And if anybody ever has questions about like StoryBrand and the StoryBrand framework, I'm kind of a nerd about it and I love to geek out. So happy to chat through that as well.
Are you a what do they call that?
Certified
A
guide?
certified,
I
yeah.
am, yes.
Okay.
I'm a StoryBrand certified guide. So it's kind of a thing I've been doing for a while.
It's
I'm on year 8 too, so it's been a long time.
It's an amazing framework. I
Yeah,
mean, you
it
go through
is.
that, and if you don't have your messaging and your content dialed in at that point, then you've done it wrong because
Yeah.
it is awesome.
Well, and with that, like if anybody's looking to like I need resources to get how do I even start building this messaging? Check out the book Building a Story Brand. There's a 2.0 version that came out about a year ago. But it's a workbook. It walks you through how do you do this. And it's fantastic framework. If you've been in marketing for any length of time, like and you haven't read it, you need to put it on your short list. And it's not earth-shattering. Like you're going to read it and you're going to be like, "Oh, this totally makes sense." But it's because they're universal principles that you can apply over and over and over again.
There's a lot of common sense, and I
Yes.
love that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Very
Exactly.
good. Thanks for being with us today, Amy.
Thanks for having me. It was so fun to be here.
Been
And how
fun.
exciting that I got to be here for the 100,000 downloads.
Yes.
Like, amazing.
That's awesome. It also is just a public shout out to my wife. It's our anniversary today, March
Whoop,
4th.
whoop.
So I'm so grateful for
Another
her.
reason for cookies.
Yes, these cookies will be one of them. I can't promise both, but one of them will be going to her.
Congrats.
So thank you. 22 years. It's been awesome. So love you, Emily. Thanks, Amy, for being on the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
So good to have you. Take care.